Thank you, everybody. Let me introduce my panelists to you all here so we can get started. First, I'm going to welcome up Stephane Timpano, the CEO of Aspire. We've also got Markus Stampfer, the CEO of DCL, the Drone Champion League. Dr. Najwa Aaraj. Thank you very much, everybody. Please come on up. So, what we're going to be talking about is talking about basically conducting science and ultimately moving science and business forward through competition, which I think is a really exciting thing, something we're going to see a lot more of over the rest of the weekend. But before we dig into competition, I believe we have a short video that we'd like to show you all.
You're about to witness the future of autonomous racing. Right here, check it out.
Oh, we are now.
This is a garage of a racing track where engineers are monitoring a Formula car that drives autonomous. This car here is driving on its own using AI. Now, the AI was trained by these same engineers. And in this room, they have created special software that pulls data in real time from the sensors on the car. They monitor all the stats on these monitors like speed, location, and even temperature of the engine. They also look at the car from different cameras on the track or the ones set up on top of the car. The goal is to find the performance of the car and the way it maneuvers at every turn using all of these stats. Now trust me, you should see when 8 of these teams compete with each other on the track live at the Abu Dhabi Autonomous Race on April 27th.
And April 27th, of course, being tomorrow. So, Stephane, that's really exciting. You know, this has been a long lead up here. Motorsport has long been kind of the ultimate proving ground for vehicular technology. But now we're kind of taking that to the next step with taking a new type of technology. Tell me a little bit about how A2RL is really pushing things forward for autonomous research and other forms of autonomy.
Good afternoon. Thank you, team. Look, before to do that, maybe 2 words about who we are.
Yeah, please.
A2RL, actually, it's an organization under the Advanced Technology Research Council that needs to be seen like the innovation agency of Abu Dhabi. And under ATRC, we have 3 organizations. Aspire, which leads A2RL. It's basically the business development and program management arm of A2RC. We do all these grand challenges. We also have TII, which is our research center with close to 1,000 researchers, and Venture One, which is a development as a commercial arm of ATRC.
Never again.
In this context, less than a year and a half ago, we got the direction to try to bridge the boundaries when it comes to autonomy and find a way to do that. And we saw that doing that across extreme sports was one of the best ways to also prove to the world that autonomy can work. Autonomy is just only the pleasure to drive autonomously a drone or a car or a boat. It's about building up the confidence that autonomy can really help humans. And in a context of mobility like we are today, and in a context where cities are going to explode in the coming years, we are going to have mega cities everywhere, and Abu Dhabi, and in the region we expect few of them to come. It will be impossible to let humans decide how to drive in very complex cities and occupied cities. And so autonomy is important, but building up the confidence on autonomy is complicated. People tend to pull off the lane assist when they're in a car, right? So it's important to show them that in extreme sports like Formula One, or Super Formula One, Super Formula context, we are able to really push the limit of these cars to above 250 kilometers, not only one car, but multiple cars on the same circuit.
Now, Markus, when it comes to drone racing, the Drone Champion League has been responsible for really pushing forward drone design in general. But we're talking backstage a little bit about work within the metaverse and digital twins and technology like that. Tell me a little bit more about how DCL is involved in that kind of work.
Sure. Good afternoon as well. Exactly our point. So we are the world leading property in mixed reality drone racing. What does it mean? So our pilots are able to fly drones virtual but also physical with the same controller. So that gives us the opportunity to mix reality with virtuality and to bring it completely new level. Drone racing is the origin, physical drone racing, of course, but the next level is the virtual. So, for example, what we did here, we made a digital twin of Yas Marina circuit, and our pilots, they are flying DCL Split Final 1, the first season highlight of DCL this year. They fly this final at the new created digital twin of Yas Marina Circle. So, and it's a kind of tourism 3.0 project as well. Everybody is chatting about digital twins and what you can do in future with the digital twins. We have the use case. We make drone flying, drone competitions in the digital twin, and of course a lot more. So I won't say it's a metaverse. It's a nice word, but in the end it's a use case for a digital twin and scope into future.
Great. Tell me a bit about how the competition came to be and what you're expecting to see tomorrow, what we should all expect to see tomorrow.
Good question. The teams have been on the ground for the last 2 months preparing on their car. So they all have the same car. It's Super Formula coming from the Japanese championship. It's 95% of the performance of Formula One. So very close to what you see when you look at the Formula One Grand Prix. And so they've been testing. 2 days are the qualifiers. So by tomorrow, the best 4 teams will be identified, and there will be 2 events tomorrow. The first one is the TII car, who is not racing with the other teams, but is racing against a Formula One driver, Danny Kvyat, who was in Formula One until a few years ago. And that will be a very, very interesting exercise. Danny was our human car driver, and so he set the bar with a very aggressive time on the Yas Marina circuit few months ago. And so now the TII car is running behind Danny, and it's getting very close to Danny. Tomorrow we hope to be able to show most likely a human car still winning, but with a autonomous car getting very close to that. And second part of the competition tomorrow will be the final 4 teams, the one who has qualified the best in terms of best lap and in terms of defend the attack performance against the other cars. In that case, the best 4 will run autonomously. So when we say autonomously, we mean that there is no one trying to influence the car. The moment we push the button, the car decide how to react on the track, which is very important that they decide to react versus the other cars, right? So it's really trying to reproduce the ability of the driver through the AI as much as we can. And today we are early steps compared to where we want to be in a few years' time. But people will see that the cars actually react quite smoothly once against the others. And so the multi-race will have one winner out of it. It's what people will see tomorrow.
And I think a lot of people haven't realized it. If you've heard a car on track as you've been here, or if you're staying at the W and you saw a car on track, there was nobody in that car. I don't think there's been a human being driving any of the cars that you've heard or seen driving around. So if you heard a car, you can sort of car go by right now.
These are all these are the 9 cars that are running today. So the teams come from all over the world. We have Italian teams, we have German, Swiss teams, we have Chinese, Singaporean, UAE teams, and an American team. What is interesting to note is that 7 of the teams, 8 of the teams with CII are researcher teams. So crazy guys that have bright ideas and put them together. They're not really competitors. They're more researchers, and some of them have sometimes more aggressivity. But one team is an American team that come from a racing culture. And they have seen the future where AI racing and autonomous racing is going to be more and more an element of esports. And there are a few teams around the world doing that. And what we want to do is try to attract these teams that go in a different way compared to researchers. Researchers have a technical problem to crack. This one want to use the technology to then use it as a sport. And what is interesting here is how sport is going to evolve going forward. I don't believe that we are going to have only autonomous races in the future, but you can see humans and machines competing together in the same teams and having different type of components. And another very important point is the level of interest that we received, not from the sporty people, if you wish, but from the tech people who love sports, but actually see the beauty of using AI and programming to get into a competition, which is quite new.
And then Markus, I know Details has some interesting competition going on this weekend as well. Tell me a bit more about that, please.
So, one sentence. So, Stephane, the point, human against machine, that's very interesting also from a ECL perspective, because I always get the question, who would win, the human or the machine? I say, okay, of course, our pilots, the human, because they train the machine currently. So, of course, we win. But let's have a look how long we can keep this situation. In the end, definitely, it's a big chance for everybody, because sports, especially in extreme sports, needs testimonials. At the moment, of course, the testimonials are the pilots, are the humans. Yes, in the end, there are more humans being testimonials. For example, also engineers, programmers. That's exactly what you're doing with the autonomous cars. And that's, of course, a goal from our side as well, to bring the engineers, the programmers also on stage and not only the pilots. And I think that's very important for the industry and very important for this man against machine thing. The man against machine thing is an old story in the end. When we talk about gamification, then, you know, the first games, the first called computer games, they were human against machine. It was the computer. The big difference is the computer was not that smart as it is now. But in the end, it's a story people can engage. And, I think we can work on that. And thanks for partnering as well. And, yeah.
And if you're interested, yes, please, absolutely. If you're interested in gamification, please allow me to pitch my next panel, which is coming up in about 15 minutes, which is going to be covering gamification in general. So thank you very much for the segue there. So I think an interesting aspect of this, you know, we think of autonomous cars as maybe being boring because it's driving itself, and especially autonomous race car. But there's actual applications for people who are interested in driving their cars in a performance way. We've seen Lamborghini talking about a concept of having an AI driving coach in the car. So it's actually a potential application where, you know, some of the top racers, they can afford to have a coach who can guide them, but now maybe everybody could have a coach. And that's a really exciting application of this technology, right?
Yes, it's one of the application. But what's interesting here is that most of us won't like to have a coach in the car. The comment I was making before on the lane assist, the statistics say that 50% of people try to unplug the lane assist when they're in the car. So you don't like to drive have someone making you a weird noise telling you, oh, you're going on your right, you're going on your left. But actually, this is really going to be critical going forward. When we come to safety, it will help people to have a better drive. And the quality of the drivers, by the way, with time has decreased. While the qualities of the car and the specs of the car are increased, cars can go faster. Statistics shows that the quality of the drivers has decreased because we tend to give the patent very easily in most of the world right now. And that's a topic. We need to think about that. So assisting the drivers through AI and through autonomous solution may be very helpful for a lot of us that don't have that skill, even in driving in the city.
Now, I'm going to throw it over to questions here in a few minutes. So if you're in the audience and you have a question, start thinking, and we'll see if we can get a microphone out to you. So we'll start that in just a few minutes. But Markus, I want to ask a little bit about commercialization opportunities from DCL. What are some of the most common partnerships that you see, whether it be sponsorship or technology development? What kind of things are you seeing coming out of partnerships with DCL and the team?
So there are several fields, definitely. So, first of all, we are currently moving to Abu Dhabi, the company. So that gives us a lot more opportunities, definitely. So, because the ecosystem here is really a perfect fit. You can collaborate with a lot of organizations. You have a global scope. So that's perfect for us. And then, of course, in the area of autonomous drone flying, there are a few. Everybody is talking, of course, about smart cities and the big solutions, but also really implementations of our future daily lives. And that does not mean that all the smart cities will have thousands of drone swarms in the cities delivering your McDonald's package. Maybe this will come, maybe not. But for example, I'm from Austria, from Innsbruck. It's a nice city, a lot of snow, a lot of mountains, a lot of huts. So in the end, definitely autonomous drones will make the delivery for the mountain huts, for example. Or if you are in the field of rescue programs for avalanches in the mountain areas in US, in Canada, but also in Austria. So there are a lot of business fields, and our job, of course, is an extreme sport. But beyond the extreme sports, there are the commercial fields, and an extreme sport is always a booster to these commercial fields, and that's what we're aiming for.
I think that's part of what's making this a great event too. The option for people to actually go see some of these drones flying, especially the larger drones. I think we've all seen them on YouTube and things like that.
I'll go back up.
But I haven't actually seen one of them fly myself. And you know, coming from New York City, you expect to see very large allows helicopters taking off all the time. If you're familiar with that, they're very loud and obnoxious, but these are amazingly quiet compared to that. They're electric. And so you could reasonably see them moving into even a relatively scenic area like you were talking about, Marcus, without disturbing nature as much as a helicopter certainly does. Do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions anybody wants to ask our esteemed panelists here about technology, gamification, challenging, that kind of thing? Anything
I have to say whether it's the last session or not.
All right. Well, keep thinking. You've still got about 8 minutes to come up with questions. I'll keep the questions going in the meantime. So, Stephane, what kind of things should we expect for the action tomorrow? Anybody's watching, and if they're not going to be here tomorrow, how can they enjoy it maybe from home or through?
Well, it will be an interesting event tomorrow. So we have a big fan zone. We expect more than 10,000 people tomorrow based on the current bookings. With a lot of animation around autonomy and technology. So if you are curious about technology, it will be a good 5-6 hours of entertainment in the fan zone, but also outside of the fan zone on the circuit, where you're going to have the chance to watch Danny Caviat against AI and the TII cars, the best 4 teams running on the multi-car. We'll have a amazing drone show. The DCL, the gigantic DCL drone that you saw yesterday and probably today too will be there. We will all the finals of DCLs tomorrow too. So there is a lot of action around drones, around autonomy, around technology, and everyone that loves technology and sport will find something to enjoy tomorrow.
Marcus, can I ride in the drone tomorrow?
She's doing the tour.
Let's try.
Okay, good. And how have fans been interacting with the DCL? How are the most common ways that you're interacting with fans, online competition, online challenges? How are your fans consuming DCL action, and how are they getting involved in communicating with the teams and the participants, that kind of thing?
So we are a very proactive sports to communicate with our community. So we're doing a lot of social media stuff here. Everybody is able to engage with our pilots. They are happy to be on site, and so I think a true and honest community sports is key for bringing us to the next level, and that's what we're doing. So we are it's not only about DCL as a brand. Of course, it's the brand for the extreme sports, but a lot behind. So also job opportunities for our talents. Okay, what is a drone job, a pilot, an engineer, a programmer in future? So we're working on that, and
do we have any questions from the audience yet? Or we've got a shy crowd today. Tell me a little bit about how A2RL is working with universities and helping to drive that STEM initiative and helping to get more students involved in AI development, AI research, and ultimately in motorsports too.
I think one of the key elements here, following what Najwa was saying, is that we need to grow the talent locally and internationally to be able to sustain the development of these technologies. And today, to be honest, it's complicated to find the right talent. And by developing a cluster like Savi is trying to do in Abu Dhabi around mobility, this will help everyone to concentrate talent and concentrate research effort in one place. That will, is demonstrated, boost our capacity to deploy new solutions. As A2RL, whatever we do, we have STEM competitions. And so tomorrow, as you will see professional teams racing, we have 170 students from the whole UAE plus a team from the US who are competing on the same concept with the small cars that go to 100 kilometers per hour and are going to be totally managed by AI. In the last 6 months, we have trained these 170 young adults and kids to program, to code, and to deal with AI. Today and tomorrow they're going to compete. So we think it's very important that all this very advanced technology get put in front of the young talent very, very early to address the questions they have about what they want to do when they will be an adult and push them to STEM topics.
And Marcus, I know DCL is also very involved.
Young talents. So our young talents, the pilots, they're almost 10 years old. So, the reaction, that's really crazy, but you need an ecosystem which is able to go with that. So, and here in Abu Dhabi, because you told about Savi class, but that's a perfect point. So, A lot of countries, a lot of regions have visions. Of course, they all have business visions. But the big difference is if you bring it on the ground, and then you will catch the talents, definitely. If there is one piece missing, then it's hard, because in the end, it's a global competition, and you can only bring it on the ground when everything is fine. And I think here it is.
All right, Markus, I think you get the final word. Thank you very much to my panelists, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.